In this video, we'll discover about how to balance your minimalist lifestyle. While watching this video course, you've probably been convinced of the many benefits that switching to a minimalist lifestyle can bring. The problems, however, begin to arise when you start thinking about how to implement those changes without causing problems in your everyday life. The key to minimalism and its long-term success is to find the right balance. This is why people who adopt too aesthetic an approach often end up failing to maintain their lifestyle in the long term. The problem with the aesthetic approach. People who think that minimalism is all about eradicating possessions and items in their life to the extreme are almost certainly on the path to failure. There are very few people who can cope for any length of time without any home comforts. If you minimize all your possessions into only what can fit into a single bag, you might have gone too far in your pursuit of simplicity. As already mentioned in an earlier chapter, minimalistic living doesn't need to be about doing without the basics like a home or a car. It should rather be about doing away with anything which lacks importance and value. You can opt to rent a home rather than buy one if this gives you greater peace of mind and greater freedom from debt and worry. However, doing without a home at all is certainly something which isn't suitable for everyone. Although there are some people who are looking for this degree of minimalism, they are the exception rather than the rule. Finding the right balance in your minimalistic lifestyle involves weighing up your external resources alongside your internal resources so you can find true happiness. Your external resources are the things outside yourself that you value and which add pleasure and joy to your life. Meanwhile, your internal resources are the things inside yourself which add happiness to your life. For most of us, the perfect balance will involve a little of each to achieve true happiness and the right minimalistic approach. It's clear to see that minimalism doesn't mean going without. It means getting rid only of the things which are unimportant, valueless, and unneeded in your life. It's only by doing this that you can create enough room for the things which are the most important to you. When you get rid of only the right things and consciously work to change your thought patterns and the way you feel about your possessions, you can reap all the benefits without ever feeling like you must do without. This is what balance means. Minimalism for everyone. The minimalistic way of life isn't just for certain people. Everyone can achieve balance in their own way when it comes to taking a minimalistic approach to living. They simply need to find the most appropriate form to suit their lifestyle. Realistically, a growing family won't be able to narrow down all their possessions into a single backpack. That doesn't mean they can't adopt a minimalist approach to life. It's more about a change of attitude rather than a sudden rush to eradicate items from your home and life. Get the balance right for your individual circumstances, and you'll find that there is nobody who cannot benefit from the advantages that minimalism brings, whether you're young or old, single, or part of a family. There are no rules when it comes to minimalism. Those who think that there is only one way to achieve the minimalist lifestyle goal are wrong and may be doomed to failure in the long term. The rules can be tailored to meet the need of each individual or their family. If balance can be found by intentionally focusing only on what's important and letting go of everything else, peace of mind will follow. You can begin to find the right balance for you by starting with the basics. Clear the physical clutter in your life and then progress towards clearing the digital clutter and then the mental clutter, which pervades your mind. Make sure you keep only those things which you truly love and value in your life, and bear in mind the mantra of quality, not quantity. The right balance of minimalism isn't found by getting rid of everything, but it also can't be found if you refuse to cut down on your clutter at all. The key is to consider quality over quantity every time. While having some possessions in your life is essential and even pleasurable, those possessions should be good quality items. Avoid the disposable economy. All too often, we're tempted to buy into the disposable economy. we buy cheaply made products at low prices and then replace them when they stop working or when we simply don't want to use them anymore. This is completely contrary to the minimalist philosophy. Instead of opting to buy more low-cost products which can be cast aside without a thought, opt instead for more expensive but better-made items which will stand the test of time. When you prioritize quality over quantity, you'll be certain of having the things you love most around you for longer and of getting the greatest value for every single purchase you make. Another element which is important when it comes to finding the right balance in a minimalist lifestyle is to have a one-in, one-out philosophy. Rather than adding to your possessions, only replace. When something breaks, you can replace it with something new. Otherwise, restrain yourself and avoid buying even more items to add to your existing collection. If you avoid the urge to buy a few times, you'll soon realize that you can manage without those things which once you would have snapped up in a second. By adopting this revolutionary approach to buying, you can achieve the optimal balance of items in your life without unintentionally building up clutter and mess in your life. In this video, we'll discover about the problems of minimalism and how to counteract them. Although it's clear that there are many benefits to adopting a minimalistic lifestyle, one of the greatest problems arise when it comes to implementing the necessary changes. Minimalism represents a completely different mindset to that which we are so used to in the 21st century. Not only does minimalism require a change in your physical lifestyle, it also demands a change of attitude and mind. This can be the hardest thing of all to take on board. The challenges of the minimalist life. Why is it so challenging to adopt minimalism? There are several problems that you're likely to encounter if you decide to take the plunge. Here are just a few. It's difficult to end the purging. Clearing away all the clutter in your life by donating, selling, tossing, or recycling can seem to take forever. Even when you think you've finally achieved your goal, there will inevitably be more stuff to add to your collection over time, regardless of how mindful you are in your purchasing regime. And this, too, will eventually need purging. Deciding what to let go can be tough. Making decisions about what to keep and what to get rid of is always going to be hard at the start of your process. If you're especially attached to your possessions, this is especially hard. And if the items are shared with a partner or amongst other family members, it can be even more difficult to come to a decision. What do you do if one person is more strongly attached to an item than the others? Discussions become essential, and this can be very time-consuming and stressful. At the end of the day, it's never worth getting into a major argument over whether to keep or get rid of a specific item. If it's so hard to let it go, it may help to ask questions such as how often you use it, whether it makes you happy, or whether it serves a valid purpose. This should help you to make a final decision. You face family challenges. While it may be relatively simple to embrace minimalism if you're single or even part of a couple, when you have children and pets, it can become more complex. Extended families, by their nature, accumulate more items and possessions, and this makes it harder to stick to your minimalist principles. For example, what do you do when the children have their birthdays? Do you give in to temptation to buy them the latest toy, which they'll probably discard within days? What happens when they receive gifts from other people? How do you address this issue? It can appear rude to ask friends and family members not to buy gifts, but if you don't, you could end up with piles of unwanted clutter in your home. You need to consider what your approach is going to be at an early stage so that you don't face additional stress when the situation arises. Avoiding temptation. Not only is there temptation involved when it comes to younger members of the family, it can be an issue for anyone of any age who is trying to adopt a minimalistic lifestyle. Marketeers are good at their jobs, so it can be all too easy to fall prey to their adverts and distractions that they place in our way. It's important to be prepared for this eventually and to keep your goals and motivations firmly in mind when heading to the store or making a purchase. Minimalism is an ongoing philosophy which must be adopted at every level of your life. You need to keep this close to your heart when tempted to make a purchase, and remember that you shouldn't buy more than you need. Fighting the urge to accumulate possessions may well be an ongoing battle. So there are a few questions that you can ask yourself before you take out the cash to pay for any item. Do you really need this item? Why do you need to purchase it? If you can answer these questions and come up with a realistic and valid response, you can go ahead and make the purchase. Otherwise, you'll have given yourself the time you need to make the right choice and to put the product back on the shelf where it belongs. Embrace the concept. Maintaining a simple, minimalistic life requires you to put in a lot of hard work. After all, it's not something which is commonly seen in the modern world, and the concept can be extremely alien to all of us who are ready to make changes. This means that fear of the unknown can hold us back. We are so used to accumulating more items rather than getting rid of them that it's only natural for us to feel some apprehension or even abject terror at the idea of doing something so contrary to what we're familiar with. What if we need those items at some future point? What if we accidentally throw away something with sentimental value? What if we're filled with regret afterwards? Even if you're fully committed to eradicating useless and valueless items from your life, identifying which of those possessions fall into those categories can be more difficult than you ever imagined. We tend to overthink things and try to associate importance with items that don't deserve it. This makes it extremely challenging to take the final step of getting rid of non-essentials. The modern world is a highly pressured place. We feel the sway of marketeers and the media telling us that we should be working towards accumulating more possessions, not getting rid of them. That somehow we're failures if we don't have a house that's overflowing with the latest products. While we may know at some level that this is nonsense, it's hard to go against the common belief when it has become so ingrained throughout society today. To truly adopt a minimalistic approach to life, you must learn to go against the accepted norm and take the brave steps towards eradicating everything but the items which are most important to your happiness and well-being. If you could follow an anxious mind, you might see patterns of unfavorable thoughts that keep playing on and off. These thoughts might be triggers to the anxiety itself, and so addressing them is very important. Most of all, you need to understand that adopting a minimalistic approach to life is something which takes time. It certainly isn't something which you can simply achieve overnight. It's an ongoing process of thinking, evaluating, acknowledging, and eradicating. It won't always be easy, but if you accept this fact and go with it anyway, you're sure to reap the benefits in the long term of your newly changed way of life. In this video, we'll discuss about taking the first steps towards a minimalist lifestyle. Would you like to start living in a more minimalist way? If you've been convinced of the benefits that the minimalist lifestyle can bring, but aren't sure how to get started, you could probably do with some expert tips to point you in the right direction. Go through your closet and identify all the clothes which no longer fit, which you no longer wear, or which are just too old. Once you've pinpointed the items which are surplus to requirements, you can look for ways to get rid of them, while always keeping sustainability and eco-friendliness in mind. Some unwanted items may be suitable to be given to friends or family members. Others may be able to be given to charity, while some could be used for other projects or around the home as cleaning cloths. Declutter your home. Your home should be the very first place you begin your minimalizing operation. A quick look around any household will almost certainly turn up a lot of items which are no longer wanted or needed. Take a structured and methodical approach to the decluttering process. Start in one room and be ruthless. Empty every shelf, drawer, and cabinet, and separate everything into 3 piles: to keep, to donate, and to throw away. Be strict. It's important not to give in to temptation, otherwise you'll have failed at the first hurdle. When one room is complete, move on to the next one. You're aiming for a living space with plenty of open floor space and empty surfaces. Digitalize as much as you can. These days, there's no need for a chunky photograph album or piles of DVDs and CDs. You can digitalize all these things to online media and streaming systems. The cloud is an amazing resource, which is just perfect for anyone who wants to adopt a minimalistic lifestyle. Upload as much as possible to the cloud so you don't have to think about physical files, photographs, and other items. You can rest assured that all your precious things and memories are safe and well preserved, and you'll even have the added benefit of being able to access them at any time and from any device, no matter where you may be. Don't be tempted to take on too much. In this busy modern world, most of us feel pressured on all sides to take on more and more responsibility. We feel obligated to accept additional work from our managers, and we feel as if we must accommodate the family's every need. In between keeping the boss happy by plowing through piles of paperwork long after your finishing time and dropping off the kids at endless after-school activities, it can seem as if you never have any time for yourself. Yet, having time to work on yourself and your own happiness is a key part of the minimalistic lifestyle. Be brave and take the step of saying no. If you're being asked to take on more than you're able to cope with, it's time to take a good hard look at your attitude to your life. It's important to look after yourself and to focus on your own well-being. Minimalize your work life and your personal life, and you'll soon reap the benefit of having more time to spend with the people you value most. Eliminate toxic relationships. All of us have people in our lives who do us no good at all. Whether that's a partner who is jealous and demanding, or whether it be a friend who asks too much of you, or who causes you trouble by talking about you behind your back. It's important to eradicate those toxic relationships from your life. Part of living a minimalistic lifestyle involves culling the people around you who aren't good for your well-being. If someone is adding no positive value to your life and is not contributing to your happiness, it's time to think about how you can cut them out of the picture. Eliminate those people from your social media feed and from your physical life, and don't be afraid to say no to them. Caring for yourself is one of the most important factors in living a minimalist life. While minimalistic living isn't exactly a new concept, it's certainly one that has attracted a lot of interest over the past few years. More people than ever before are beginning to recognize the benefits that come from simplifying their lives and cutting down on the amount of clutter that pervades their thoughts, emotions, and physical space. If you've ever wanted to live a more peaceful, fulfilling, and positive life, you should certainly consider switching to a more minimalistic approach. It's the best way to surround yourself only with things that make you feel happy, and it's an effective way to minimize the things which stress you out. Although it may feel alien at first to adopt a minimalistic way of living, once you've persevered for a few weeks and months, it'll soon become second nature. You're sure to appreciate the difference that comes with having less to think about, worry about, and deal with. When you have fewer possessions, you have fewer problems. With fewer problems, you have less stress, and with less stress in your life, you can experience greater joy and greater peace. It may be challenging at first to identify which items you can eradicate from your life, but once you've taken the plunge, you're sure to delight in the experience of culling all the people, activities, and things which have been causing you grief. Whether you're eradicating toxic relationships from your life, getting rid of troublesome clients from your business, or removing all the unwanted clutter from your home, you're sure to find that your mind is clearer and your life is full only of the things that you appreciate and value. With only the essentials remaining, you'll finally be able to dedicate time and energy to the things which are most important, your own well-being and your relationships with the people who surround you. While you may have fewer possessions, you'll be rich in thoughts, memories, and experiences that will stand in good stead for a lifetime. While it goes against everything that 21st century culture expresses, the minimalistic life proves that less is most definitely more. If you're ready to pursue it for yourself and reap the benefits that this simpler approach to life has to offer, follow our expert how-to guide and enjoy your new, happier lifestyle.